Welcome to this tutorial from mysalessource.net, and we're going to cover, as I've talked about earlier, we're going to cover the basics of telemarketing. Now, I've already covered how to basically start off with vTiger and import your leads. Now, because the two systems, vTiger, which is the telemarketing part of the system, is tied in with vTiger, what happens is, let's say, for example, you create a campaign, import a bunch of leads. Those leads are also going to be imported into vTiger at the same time. Now, the basics of these two things, how they work together, is that vTiger takes those leads and essentially keeps them what's much like a queue, like a printer queue. You know, you can imagine, let's say you send 20 documents to print. They're going to come off the printer one by one because you only have, in this case, let's say one printer. Now, the telemarketing system works the same way. Let's say you load in to one campaign, you load in 1,000 leads. The telemarketing system is going to dial through them one by one. I'll give an example here. I'm just going to dial a number and hang up quickly. Now, you see, there's a bunch of responses that have already been pre-made. Some of these are just default within vTiger itself, but some of them are categories that I've created specifically for a campaign that I'm doing for one of my clients, which is cream sales, selling cream. You can see here that, you know, there's the basic ones like answering machine above there, answering machine left message, busy, callback, disconnected, fax machine. Now, all these things get run into when, of course, when you're doing telemarketing, you know, wrong numbers. So this is important because you might buy, let's say, 3 different lists, and on some of the lists that you might find that you get a lot of wrong numbers. And usually what that means is the lead seller or reseller is providing to you probably an outdated or a list that has not been called much. So in that case, like we went over earlier in the basics of marketing, you'll be able to isolate that lead source as not being a very good one. Somebody who's giving you a large number of wrong numbers can prove out to be very bad ROI, which is return on investment. You want to be able to, you should be able to take, in some cases, a lead source, spend maybe, you know, I've at times taken a list for $200 and turn that into maybe $1,000. And we're talking over a fairly short period of time. Like even with 1 or 2 callers, you can maybe do that in a few days, depending on what type of product or service you're selling. But again, the basic thing here that we're looking at is these are what's called call dispositions. You can see here it says call disposition above right here, and basically those are statuses, you could say. Once the call is done, you've got various statuses that you assign to that call, and also can affect the status of the customer. In this case, since I didn't speak to anybody, I'm going to mark it off as an answering machine. Now, that customer should be updated inside the sales campaign. I don't have the two actually connected right now at this time, but in the case after you've loaded your list in vTiger and you're calling off the same campaign inside of vTiger, you're going to find that it's been updated within vTiger to have that specific status that you've marked it. So what you're going to wind up with over time, let's say you buy 200 leads or 2,000 leads, you're going to find out that a certain percentage are wrong numbers from your telemarketing, a certain percentage are contacts, schedules, scheduled callbacks, disconnected numbers, do not call numbers, and others, so you can begin to gauge how good that lead source is.